Welcome everyone to another coffee break here on my channel Firm Learning. Today we are a bit of an unusual location. Here we are at the Eat and Style. We were invited by a friend of mine who has a food startup that we are going to visit. It's a food fair, so we're very excited for that. But the topic of today is going to be what is called the Great Resignation. This trend of especially young people preferring now to work at home, working very flexibly instead of working in an office, needing to come into the office on a regular basis. I'm going to weigh into that, give my opinion on that, and especially I will talk about whether I believe it is a good idea for people fresh out of university in the first years of their career to work in a job that is fully remote, to work somewhere where they're not in direct contact with colleagues, but just at home, working from home, whether this is a great idea or not. And as a small hint, I don't think that it's a great idea. I know that this is a little bit controversial, but we're going to dive into this in a moment, so stick in here with me. I got the idea for this video this morning where in my LinkedIn feed I had this post from McKinsey saying employees are quitting in record numbers, many without another role lined up. It's up to leaders to respond to these trends and re-engage the workforce so organizations can retain their best talent. And this trend, this phenomena that is described here is called the Great Resignation. It is widely described and apparently it's also backed up by data that since earlier this year a lot of people, apparently much more than normal, are resigning from their job, and this is often linked to the development during their health situation that was going on since last year and the thought process that this triggered for many people. Apparently this is especially triggered by millennials and Gen Z people that are not really satisfied anymore with their job, and I can confirm that when talking to people, friends, colleagues who tell me that they don't want to work anymore in the same way that they used to work maybe before the situation since 2019. A big trend seems to be that people do not want to work from an office anymore, that people want to work remote, want to work from home, and this full time. And of course I do see many advantages to that. Of course, especially if you have a family, and another big plus that I see is that often this gives you a little bit more flexibility to on the side work on some other project of yours, some other passions that you really want to follow. So for this, let's hear it from Johannes from SpiceWise. He is a rocket scientist working a full-time job, and he started his passion project during this time in the pandemic. So Johannes from SpiceWise was kind enough to invite us here today to the Eat and Style. Lots of amazing food. We already also tried out yours. Pretty amazing stuff. So the topic we already talked about is the Great Resignation. That's pretty amazing because I think you did not resign from your full-time job with your project, but it also had something to do with the health situation. Is that correct?
Yes. So thank you very much for your time and visiting us at our SpiceWise booth. Yes, you are right. We used the current situation together with my kindergarten friends to develop a natural supplement, and we did it part-time. So we all three stayed in our full-time jobs. Tried to perform very good, but also used, for example, the extra time during lockdown where you cannot go out to the cinema whatsoever to develop a product, or at least in this particular case, 3 products. And fulfill our childhood dream to develop and found a company. Today you are here at our booth of SpiceWise, and this is the result.
That's pretty amazing, and this is what I understand, this whole movement of the Great Resignation, what it's all about. People in a full-time job asking themselves, what can we do, what is really our passion, what are some projects you want to pursue. And is it correct that you did this fully remote? So really also an example of working completely from home.
Yes.
How did this team of yours work together?
So the team is spread through Germany. So we have someone in Würzburg, someone in Stuttgart, and me in Munich. And during the lockdown, it was not able to come together to work in a kind of workshop or whatsoever. Also, our suppliers needed to work fully remote. So actually, it was a very great workflow because we start, I think, to invest more time during August, September 2020. From my point of view, it was very, very good and in a great flow. Yeah.
Thanks, that's awesome. If you are also interested in the SpiceWise products, I will link a link in the video description to their products. So check it out. Trust, it is really amazing. Thank you, Johannes. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
This for sure is quite an inspirational story, and of course this begs the question that if you are a young professional, someone fresh out of university, should you choose your first job to be a job that is fully remote, that gives you all this flexibility? And apparently this is something that many young graduates currently are contemplating about, and that also led to this great resignation, this trend that we talked about in the beginning. And frankly, while I understand that it's very popular and while I do see the advantages, I think it is not a good idea. This is my humble opinion on this question. And let me share 3 reasons with you why I believe that, especially as a new joiner, as a young professional, you should rather look for a job that is a bit more traditional in this way, that allows you to work from the office and get this experience this way. The first point is that I hold that a significant part of the learnings that you get from a job in the first years of your career is by observation. By sitting in the office and maybe overhearing a phone call that maybe a colleague has who's sitting next to you. And this colleague maybe just has a client call, a call with the client, and the whole call is a bit difficult, doesn't go the way the person planned, and you're just observing what this person is doing in order to handle the situation in the right way. On the same way, observing how some of the senior leaders who you just meet in the office handle certain situations, interact and engage with other colleagues, with clients, with suppliers. Observations that are not crucial, that are not directly linked to your day-to-day activities, are an extremely rich source of learning that you will not be able to tap into if you're just sitting in front of your desk at home, joining some occasional video conferences. You will miss this for sure. The second point is on visibility. Your visibility will for sure suffer if the only way other colleagues see you is if they join a video conference where you are part of as well. And if you're not really familiar with this concept of visibility, I do hope that it is one of the most important concepts to understand, especially in the first years of your career to succeed. I will link another video above here where I talked about this in detail, so check it out. But for sure, if you're sitting at home, you're missing the opportunity of meeting other people in the office, having an informal coffee with them, picking up things that are going on, where you can be a part of, where you can increase your visibility. This will not benefit your long-term career progression in an organization. The third point is about opportunity. And now many companies are in a bit of a weird situation where part of the workforce is in the office on a regular basis, but the other part of the workforce is mainly working from home. Also because in many organizations, to some extent, it's up to the discretion of the individual employees whether they want to come to the office or not. And I would argue that in these organizations, the people who are not regularly in the office have some significant disadvantages. Now try to put yourself into the shoes of a team lead, of a leader in this organization. That person is sitting in the office and has now a couple of things to discuss with other people, or an idea the person now wants to work with another person. What is the person that this leader will be most likely to reach out to? And I would argue that most likely this person will reach out to a colleague who's sitting in the office next to him or her, to whom this colleague can directly reach out to, discuss a certain thing with that person. And then often this leads to some follow-up activities, maybe a whole new project that this person can now lead because he was present, he was there, he was available to discuss these things with this leader. So while I fully acknowledge that working from home, working in a remote position has some significant advantages, I don't think it's the best move you can do if you really want to grow as a person and as a professional. I trust that not everyone will have my opinion on this, and this is of course completely okay. So let me know, what is your opinion? Feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. Would love to hear from you as well. As always, if you took any value out of this video at all, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. I'm also active on other platforms such as Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitch or TikTok. And of course, a big thanks to all the members of From Learning. Thanks for your contribution. My name is Heinrich. I release a new video every single Saturday. So see you again next week. Until then, all the best to you and bye-bye.